Level 1. The birth and the silence. You're born on a morning so brutally hot it feels like the jungle itself is trying to push you back out. The air smells like cracked red earth and wet grass that hasn't seen a breeze in days. Your mother doesn't say a word. She just stares at you for a long, slow moment, pressing her face against your tiny body like she's trying to memorize the exact temperature of you before the world gets its hands on you. There's no celebration, no roar, just the heavy, loaded silence of two creatures understanding something that doesn't have a word yet. Your father, the undisputed lord of this pride, watches from a distance. He doesn't come close. He doesn't need to. His eyes do everything. And what those eyes say is something between pride and warning, like a man who's built something great and already knows the cost of keeping it. He can tell from the first second that this one is different, not louder, not bigger. Different in the way that matters most, the kind of different you can feel before you can explain it. He knows you're going to carry claws and a weight that has no name yet. Your home isn't a palace. It's a maze of burning sunlight and shifting shadows where the danger smells like dust and something larger than you, something that has been here longer and isn't planning to move. The heat presses down like a hand. The trees don't give shade so much as they give the illusion of it. The silence is your first real lesson. Your mother doesn't explain it. She just lives it, and she makes you live it too. She teaches you without words that in the jungle, silence is the language of power. The animals that talk too much, that move too loud, that announce themselves, those are the animals that get eaten. Listening to the wind isn't a metaphor here. The wind tells you which direction the leopard is coming from. The wind tells you when the herd has caught your scent. The wind is your most honest teacher, and it doesn't charge tuition. In the hierarchy of the pride, you're nothing. A footnote. The smallest body in a system built for the strongest. But there's something in your chest, you don't know what to call it yet, that buzzes and hums like something caged that knows it shouldn't be caged. A roar that hasn't made it to your throat yet, but is already shaking your bones from the inside. You see the world from the ground, flat on your belly in the grass. And even then, even in that low and humble position, you know in your gut that the ground is your first real opponent. Not the leopard, not the hyena, not the rival male across the ridge. The ground. Because the ground is where you lose if you ever stop paying attention to it. Level 2. The Apprentice of Shadows. By the time you're 2, the play fights and the rolling in the grass are over for you. Your mother has decided. Training begins, and your mother is not the kind of teacher who goes easy on you because she loves you. She loves you exactly because she doesn't go easy. Her paws are cross-hatched with scars that look like old tree roots, raised and pale against her fur, each one a story she never tells because the lesson already happened. She doesn't teach you to attack in the first month. That would be too easy, too loud, too obvious. Instead, she teaches you to sit, to wait, to exist inside time like time isn't actually moving. You hate it. Everything in you wants to launch yourself at whatever's moving, to bite and scratch and run and feel the adrenaline of it. But she pins you to the ground, sometimes literally, one paw flat on your back, and holds you there until you stop trembling with urgency. She does it dozens of times. You fall, and she makes you fall better. You fall again, and she makes you fall without flinching. And one morning, somewhere in the repetition, you understand. A warrior who doesn't know how to fall will never survive the strike that matters most. You start reading the environment like a language you've been speaking your whole life without knowing it. You learn the difference between the stillness of an empty savanna and the stillness of a savanna that is holding its breath. You learn that a single shifted leaf can mean a zebra 40 yards out, and that a slightly different smell in the wind, something metallic, something old, means you need to move right now. You learn who the easy prey is and who the mortal threat is before anything has actually moved. It's not magic. It's attention, paid at a level most animals never reach because they got comfortable. Your litter mates are rolling around in the grass, biting each other's ears, screaming with the pure joy of being young and alive and not yet responsible for anything. You watch them sometimes. You don't resent it. You understand, on some level, that you can't fully articulate, that you're trading their kind of joy for something else, something that takes longer to arrive but lands harder when it does. You spend your nights watching the stars shift and drilling your reflexes in the dark, learning how to move without letting the darkness move you. Pain is your head instructor. Every hit you take is a lesson that no amount of warmth or comfort can teach you. You internalize it not with bitterness, but with a quiet, almost sacred respect. The body that knows how to absorb a blow is the body that gets to decide the next move. Level 3. The blood baptism. You're 4 years old when real life shows up at your door, not as a metaphor, but as a literal life or death assignment. Take down your first prey, alone. No assist, no safety net. You feel the weight of your claws, not the physical weight, but the significance of them, what they mean to every lion in the pride that has watched you grow up. The plan is simple in theory. Cut off the escape route, wait for the signal, execute without hesitation. Simple. Clean. Until it isn't. The attack itself takes 4 seconds in real time. In your mind, it takes forever. A slow-motion collapse of everything you trained for, all of it arriving at once in your muscles before your brain has fully caught up. The adrenaline hits like fire poured into your veins with nowhere to go. 4 seconds of contact, and then it's over. And you're standing there in the grass with dust on your muzzle and something on your paws that you'll never be fully clean of again. You walk back to the pride with your face marked, and something has been signed. An agreement, a contract between you and nature that has no exit clause, no renegotiation, no grace period. You are different now. You have a name inside the system, a real one, earned the only way a real name can be earned out here. By showing up when it costs you something. Your mother looks at you. Her eyes don't celebrate, they confirm. A cold, steady handshake of a look that says, I saw this in you before you saw it in yourself. And that look, somehow, means more than any roar ever could. You start to understand, standing in the grass with the aftermath still on you, that the ledger of survival never fully balances. The price of belonging to the top of the food chain isn't paid once. It's paid on installment, for life, in a currency that doesn't have a name in any language. Level 4. The exile and the stranger. You're 6 years old and the savannah has gotten too small, not physically, but psychologically. You've outgrown the territory in a way that isn't about space, it's about gravity. You pull at the edges of the pride's world without meaning to. Your father feels it before you say anything. He doesn't see a son anymore when he looks at you. He sees a rival, something with enough force to threaten what he's built, and he has spent too long building it to let sentiment complicate the math. The exile isn't a conversation. It's a look, and then it's a reality. You tell your mother with your eyes, not words, just a long look on a quiet morning, and she doesn't cry in front of you. But you feel the grief in the air around her like a physical thing, a pressure change like the moment before a storm. You memorize her face, then you turn and walk. You don't look back when you cross the invisible line at the edge of the territory. You know yourself well enough by now to know that if you look back, you won't have the legs to keep going. So you don't. You walk forward into the unknown with nothing but what's already inside you, which, it turns out, is more than you thought. Now you are a stranger everywhere. A lion without a pride, without a patch of ground that belongs to you, without a name that means anything in any territory you enter. You arrive in places that feel like a green version of hell, humid and close, the kind of heat that wraps around you instead of pressing down on you. The kind of territory where the danger isn't out in the open, but lives inside the silence between the sounds. You sleep with one eye open, literally. You learn that loneliness is a discipline, one of the hardest ones, and that the lions who crack under exile don't crack because they ran out of food. They crack because they ran out of themselves. Every day is an audition where nature is the only judge, and the only question is whether you break. You learn to speak the language of hunger, of real thirst, of cold nights and uncertain mornings. And that language, as brutal as it is to learn, makes you more dangerous than any lion who has ever had a pride to fall back on. Because you have no fallback. You are the fallback. You're it. Hey, if this is hitting different, smash that follow right now. Every level of this story drops on this channel first. Don't miss level 5. It's where it gets real. Turn on notifications and let's ride this out together. Level 5, the Ghost of the Jungle. You're 8 years old and you have survived deserts that don't appear on any map. and forests that the rest of the animal kingdom quietly agrees to avoid. You've moved through territories that other lions talk about in the cautious, lowered tones of things that shouldn't be spoken too directly. You've become a master of the ambush, a solo operator who settles territorial disputes without leaving evidence, who moves through contested ground like smoke, who exists in the space between being seen and being known about. The real combat happens in the middle of the night, a 12-minute fight over a carcass that becomes hours inside your memory. A slow, granular replay that your nervous system keeps running back to understand something it still hasn't fully processed. You find yourself kneeling, or the lion equivalent of it, in the dust afterward, paws trembling with exhaustion down to the bone, but your eyes fixed on the horizon, not looking for the next threat, just looking, steady. You've learned survival dialects that exist only in the extreme quiet, the knowledge that the jungle only teaches when it has you completely alone with no distractions, no pride, no routine to hide inside of. Sometimes, in the stillness, you find yourself looking at an old scar and thinking of the ones who didn't make it this far. Not with grief, exactly, with a different kind of weight, the weight of being the one who is still here to carry the memory of them. You renew your contract with life every single morning. Not because you choose to, because there is no alternative available. The absence of choice, you've discovered, is its own kind of power. It simplifies everything. There's no decision fatigue when there's only one option. Keep moving, keep adapting, keep surviving. The training your mother gave you in the silent dojo of your early life has become your nervous system. You don't think through what she taught you. You just are it. Level 6, the weight of the throne. You're 10 years old when you build your own pride from scratch. Not inherited, not gifted, not handed down. Built through force and brutal negotiation and a reputation that preceded you into every new piece of territory you stepped onto. Now there are young lions watching your face to decide whether to charge or fall back. And you feel the shift in what leadership actually means the moment you give your first roar as the one in charge. It's not about your hunger anymore. It's about theirs. It's not about your survival anymore. It's about theirs. The weight of that transfer is something you couldn't have understood before you felt it. You lose one of your best, a warrior you trusted completely, in a hyena ambush on a Thursday morning that felt like any other Thursday morning. And you grieve it the only way the position allows, in total silence, in total privacy. In the 40 minutes you let yourself stand completely still at the place where it happened and stare at nothing. Then you walk back, because the others still need someone standing at the front, and that someone is you, and it was always going to be you. You watch a young recruit, 4 years old, green, moving with the precise kind of reckless confidence that gets lions killed. And you see yourself at that age so clearly it's almost uncomfortable. You give the signal that means you're in. You earn him the assignment knowing full well that some of them will break, and not knowing yet whether he's one of them. You give the signal anyway, because the only way to find out is to let them try. The throne is a golden cage and you know it. Always surrounded, always visible, always needed, and always making the decisions alone, because that's the part no one else can carry for you. Presence without privacy, power without peace. You do it all again, but you don't pretend it's something it isn't. Level 7, the King of Scars. You're 14 years old, and your body is a full archive, a physical record of every fight you won, every fight you barely survived, and a few you probably should have lost but didn't because something in you simply refused to accept the outcome. Your reflexes are still there. They don't fail you. But there's a new layer to every movement now. A precision that wasn't there at 4 or 6 or even 10. You know exactly what you can afford to lose in any given encounter and exactly what you cannot. That knowledge is not fear. It's mathematics, hard-earned, field-tested, bought at full price. You watch the new cubs trying to pick up their oversized paws and make them do something useful, and something almost like a smile moves through you. Not quite a smile, more like a recognition. You remember being that size. You remember the feeling of having capacity that hadn't yet grown into itself. You remember not knowing yet that you were going to be fine. You don't ask forgiveness for the lives you took to survive. That would be a kind of dishonesty, a retroactive softening of choices that were not soft when you made them. The jungle didn't offer you cleaner options, and you didn't pretend it did. You accepted the terms and you lived by them fully without flinching away from what they cost. That's not something that requires absolution. That's something that requires respect, even from yourself. You tell yourself, quietly, privately, in the specific language of a 14-year-old lion lying in the grass in the late afternoon, that it was worth it. Every scar, every exile, every night in a territory that wasn't yours, every cold morning, and every impossible afternoon. The journey made it all worth something real. The sky above the savannah has more stars in it now than when you were young. Or maybe the same stars are there and you just finally stopped looking at the horizon long enough to actually look up. The silence presses in around you. The same silence that met you the morning you were born. The same weighted, living, breathing silence that has been the truest constant of your entire life. You close your eyes. You don't hesitate. You never hesitated at anything that mattered, and you're not about to start now. The thread of life is sharp, and you respected it down to the very last second. You are already gone. But the jungle continues, exactly the way you always knew it would.